John Fredericks, America's Godzilla of Truth. He's popular and proficient in picking politics with prophetic precision. And now J. Fred's picking sports. Are y'all ready for this? All across the airwaves and streams of the John Fredericks Media Network, John, Jack, and Nate, three guys that are pretty wise when it comes to picking winners. Football, basketball, baseball, soccer, golf, UFC battles, you name it. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Before you make that play, hear what J. Fred has to say. Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
Oh yeah, for entertainment purposes only.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Godzilla Wins Saturday Pick Show on this lovely Saturday morning, September 30th, 2023. I'm your host, Jack Fredericks, alongside my father, the Godzilla of Truth, John Fredericks, and we will be joined later this hour by Nate Perry, senior editor, and Dan Angel, senior contributor to GodzillaWins.com. We got a huge show for you today, 2 hours of action-packed football. We have got an hour of college football to start us off, 8 to 9 Eastern time. We're going to be talking all the big games here and what happened to our favorite teams like my beloved Ole Miss Rebels, who I told you we're going to lose and did. And then we're from 9 to 10, we're going to be talking the NFL. We're going to go through all the games there, all the major storylines, including the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, I guess, which seems to be sweeping the nation for some reason. I guess I sort of understand why. We'll be doing that with senior contributor and Chicago Bears fanatic James Tillman III, and then
sad,
super sad, and then we'll be joined by Darian Kelly for the last half hour of that. So action-packed show. We're talking football the entire show, all 2 hours. Should be a lot of fun covering all the spreads, all the big games here. And we will pick a whole bunch of games, about 15, 20 games, maybe more than that, like 25 games. So should be a lot of fun. Hey, listen, GodzillaWins.com and all of its subsidiaries is for entertainment purposes only. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-426-2537 in Colorado, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Michigan, Nebraska, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, or Wyoming. 800-327-5050. Visit gamblinghelpline-ma.org. In Massachusetts, call 877-G-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 in Kansas, New Hampshire, 888-789-7777, or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut, 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa, or visit opgr.org in Oregon. Go to GodzillaWins.com, everybody, for all of your latest picks and predictions. We got a whole bunch of stuff up on the website. Dan's been working really hard on his picks. He gives us 3 or 4 a week. We've got the NFL. We got some picks up for that as well. Dad has his baseball picks, so we are ready to go. Dad, if you are in a state where DraftKings is legal and you want to take advantage of our promo, Godzilla, how can we do that?
I don't know what you guys are waiting for out there. If you're not in DraftKings, what are you doing? It's so much fun. Here's the thing. Once you get in, they got a bonus every day. And now what I do now is I only bet the bonus games because they're giving you like a 50% profit boost, 100% profit boost, a free bet. So once you get in, but even getting in, this thing is the best thing ever, because if you download the DraftKings app, you just go to DraftKings.com, download the DraftKings app, put a promo code Godzilla. All you got to do is put in $5. I mean, $5, what is that? You go to the store, you go to Dunkin' Donuts, you buy a cup of coffee and a donut hole is $5, right? It's over that with tax. $5 is going to get you $200 instantly. So you put in $5 and all of a sudden you got $205 in your account. Free bets. This is an unbelievable deal with DraftKings with promo code Godzilla. Plus that, look, they've been a sponsor of us since we started. They're really good people. They're good to us. Put in promo code Godzilla, bet $5, you're going to get $200 in free bets instantly. Right now, you got to use it within a week. So you got 7 days to use your free bets. So you just do our games, right? In fact, let's see, what am I, 19-11 in college football against the spread? You just bet my games, you're going to probably turn a 200 into God knows what. So that's all you have to do now. If you have a gambling problem, all you have to do, it's very easy, is call 1-800-532-3500, 1-800-532-3500, and you're good to go. DraftKings is the place to go. You're going to love this app. $5 gets you 200 right now. With promo code Godzilla.
That's right. Promo code Godzilla. Now, Dad, looks like Nate will be joining us here in a minute, but I'm not sure it's ever just been you and me on the show.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah, kind of an interesting dynamic here. So let's start then, before we get into the Colorado USC game, which I want to start with, of course, Colorado being a big story. Let's just start with the Astros. We're both Astros fans. I know you were up late watching that game. We'll do a little, 30 seconds a minute of baseball, how fired up you are to be in the playoff hunt here as a rabid Astros fan. What's going on in baseball?
Now, first of all, during this segment, are you going to turn your hat around so we can see your Astros insignia? There you go. See, that fired me up. Now we both got our Astros hat on. Listen, as Astro fans, this is the first time we've been in a pennant race since 2015, right? So 2016, when we didn't make the playoffs, Texas beat us out and swept us.
Well, the COVID year, the COVID year was sort of a pennant race.
Yeah, kind of, but I think they were 40 and 41, but never really they never went down to the final game, right? That kind of weekend, they were still in good shape. So kind of, but as far as a full season, we haven't been in pennant race since 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Been 7 years, and gets down to the final 2 games. Houston can still win the division. They can still be the division champs. All they got to do is beat Arizona. These next 2 games, they beat their ace at Galen last night in a great game, 2-1. Abreu hits a 2-run double in the 6th inning. That bullpen comes in, lights out again, shuts them out. And so, look, we beat their ace. Now we got our ace going tonight, Verlander. I know we're going to win this game tonight. I think we're going to sweep Arizona. Look, they're going to make the playoffs anyway because the Cubs are imploding. They're dropping fly balls with 2 outs. Forget about it. This team's done. Arizona's going to make the playoffs. But I'm very excited about our team. I think we're peaking at the right time here at the end. And I think we're going to win the division. And look at Seattle. We beat Seattle 2 out of 3, and now they're beating Texas 2 times. I don't think Texas is going to make it. I think Texas is going to be out. Bruce Bochy's going to be out. It's another example of one of these old has-been managers you bring back, kind of like Sean Payton in Denver. You bring these guys back and you think, oh, all of a sudden magic happens like Tony La Russa, and it's a total disaster. And the other good news is the Giants fired their woke coach, Gabe Kaplan, who I thought was the worst manager in baseball. He gets fired. Good riddance to him. And I think the Giants will be a better team for that. But down the stretch, Verlander tonight, 162 game season. There's a game 161. You live for these games all season. Verlander, after that great 8.5 inning, 8 1/3 inning performance over Seattle, he goes back. Astros going to win this game. We're going to win the division. I think we're going to win the whole damn thing. I'm pumped.
Yeah, trademark optimism there. As always, kind of funny to be complaining about not being or at least commenting about not being in a pennant race, considering we've been in the playoffs every year for 100 years. So not like anyone feels sad for Astros fans there. But
normally when you're a baseball fan and you're not in a playoff race, it's the opposite. You're like, well, games don't mean anything in September. We haven't been in a playoff race at the end of the season because we've had 8 or 9 or 10 game leads, and so none of the games mattered.
And then we always blow through the divisional round. So it's like, as an Astros fan, games don't really matter until almost November. We
are spoiled. Yes, we are.
Yeah,
but you know what? We deserve to be spoiled after going through 3 straight 100-loss seasons, after going through all those years with never making the playoffs, all those years getting beat by being swept by the Braves, getting bounced out with the Killer Bees. We went through all that suffering, the Chicago White Sox debacle. We've been through all that. We deserve a little love right now. By the way, the Yankees cheated, not us. That whole thing's a scam.
No, we definitely cheated too. And I don't know if we had some tough years while we were trying a different type of rebuilding approach, but I mean the Astros have had a lot of winning teams over the years. There's a lot of worse baseball franchises. I mean, it's actually a franchise that can be a lot of fun to follow.
I just have to say one thing to jog your memory, Jack. Brad Mills.
Yeah, Brad the Winner Mills. Yeah.
He had 3 straight 100-loss seasons.
Brad the Winner Mills. God. Yeah, he was then he went back to Cleveland. He was on the staff for Francona for a while, so not a great look for us, but well, we'll see. Okay, so let's get to some college football then. I want to start with USC Colorado. Here comes Nate in his well-lit
Nate, when are you going to get some lights, Nate? When are you going to buy some lights?
Pay for some.
What?
As soon as you guys
just
give me
buy
some.
Just buy them and send me the bill, man.
Yeah,
he has and send me the bill.
No, he has lights.
I'm just kidding. I have lights. I just do it at a different place, and I don't, carry them with me.
Yeah, he records off location at Royce, which is a incredible bar in Reno. If you're ever there,
so you put the lights in your trunk, and then you have them.
Yeah,
right. I forgot. I was running a little late. I got to teach you guys. I thought about it as soon as I got here.
This is a sad situation. What would you guys do without me? I got to teach everything.
We would win probably more. So let's go to USC Colorado. We'll get to a little football here. Interesting to hear our perspectives for this game because Dad, he's got the receipts for Colorado, but then they got blown out of the building last week, as we knew they would, because they aren't that good. I mean, Coach Prime is just a master at marketing, and he's good. Like, they're going to win games, but they're not going to beat all these really good teams. USC now a 21.5-point favorite, traveling to where do they play? Fort Collins, I think, is where they play in Colorado there. So traveling to Colorado.
Boulder.
They
play in Boulder. Colorado plays in
Boulder.
Oh, is it who plays in Fort Collins?
Colorado State.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, so let's get to the game then. Dad, we'll start with you, number one Colorado fan. Tough loss for you last week. USC is 21.5. You taking the points?
I'm taking the points. I'm taking the points. Look, last week was a disaster. The team wasn't really ready for the kind of football that Oregon brought to them. USC is going to try to repeat that. Colorado was not as bad as they looked last week. I think Dion, now what they face is potential embarrassment, right? With all the talk, you got to back up the talk, right? Talk is cheap. You got to play the game. As Big Tuna said, right? Play the game. You got to play the game here. And I think Colorado at home, I don't think they're going to win this game, but they have to put a better performance on. I think he's going to have his team motivated. He's got his top player back, the two-way. But it's if they get blown out again, then the hype becomes embarrassing, right? So he's faced now with embarrassment. If this is a 15-14, 2-touchdown game and they somewhat stay in it, I think they're fine. But I like Colorado here. I'm going to take the 21.5. I don't see another blowout like they had at Oregon.
So, Nate, I don't agree with Dad that this would be an embarrassment. I mean, first of all, the Pac-12 is loaded this year. I think that is real. I think there's a lot of teams in this conference who could make the college football playoff. I think USC is one of them. I think, winning 7 games and getting your ass kicked for 3 or 4 of them is probably fine for a team like Colorado. But maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe they do need to keep one of these games close. Getting Travis Hunter back is going to be a huge part of this game. But they don't have a defense. I mean, they have to score. That's how they win games. The over-under here is 72.5. And I just don't think they can stop any of these teams. And I think that, teams like USC, Oregon, Washington, Utah, Oregon State have like actual defenses that can frustrate Shedeur. What do you think?
I think that, Colorado hasn't really changed much since the first game of the season, right? Their issues have pretty much been the same since the beginning of the season, and their strengths have pretty much been the same. Their weaknesses are they can't run the ball, and they don't play very good defense. And their strengths are Shadur Sanders just does crazy stuff. He converts a nutty amount of third downs. He pulls rabbit out of his hat all the time. And, he's been really clutch for them and sort of bailed them out and kept them in games with his arm and his ability to extend plays. That feels like pretty much just what they're going to be at this point. It doesn't seem like they're going to change much. Fortunately for them, I think that matches up pretty well against USC. USC, I am sort of suspicious of their defense. They really haven't played a good offense yet, but I suspect that their defense isn't as good as maybe some of their numbers, which are just sort of mediocre, suggest. Colorado, we know what their defense is. It's not very good. I think this is going to be a lot of quick scores. I think that both teams are going to have sort of big plays. In a game like this, I think that you have to think hard about Colorado plus 21 or plus 21.5, whatever it is right now. Just because this game feels like there's going to be a lot of randomness. Both these teams are terrible at getting penalties. They're bottom 10, both of them in penalty yards per game. So there's just going to be a lot of weird stuff. And in a game where there's going to be a lot of big plays, there's going to be a lot of stupid penalties, there's not going to be a lot of defense, I think you just have to take Colorado plus the points. This feels like a game script that sort of lines up with more of what they try and do, which is just create just absolute chaos and hope they're better at navigating it than the other team.
I think they might be in this game as well. I also love that these games are at 11 Eastern times, 12 Central, because they're these are West Coast games, basically. I mean, I know Colorado is not exactly California, but you're still in the Mountain West. So I think it's kind of fun to have like a West Coast game or a Pac-12 game early on, which you never see anymore. So that's probably my hottest take. Here's my thing about Coach Prime. We'll say this and I'll move on. I think hiring Coach Prime is like getting a tattoo. Like when you first do it, like when the needle starts to go and you're 30 minutes in, you're thinking, this is the best decision I have ever made. I could not think of a better way to spend 4.5 hours and $500 than with my boy Tito here, who's just pounding ink into my calf. And then about 2.5 hours into it, you're like, this was really a reckless thing to do with an afternoon and $500. I don't think that this was the best way to spend my Saturday, and this is going to be on my skin forever. And then after it heals and you have it, you think, that's all right. I did it and I'm proud of it, but I'm not sure that it was the best thing to do with my money and time. So, that's kind of what I feel like it's like to hire Coach Prime at a Power 5 school. It's good. You're going to be riding the ups and downs of a tattoo here pretty hardcore. So, we'll see. We'll see. Let's get to one more before we talk a little bit about Healthy Cell here. I want to go to the SEC now. And this game actually has a short spread, which there's not a lot of this week. This is going to be Florida, number 22, traveling to Kentucky. Florida is a 1.5-point dog, even though they're ranked.
Yeah, baby.
I mean, tough to play in Lexington. Look, Kentucky is they're fine. I mean, they're a good team. They're not going to beat Georgia, but maybe they beat Florida here. Nate, we'll start with you. Any reason Florida's the dog here?
I think Florida's the dog here, and this sort of fits into like some of my like sort of just little like system plays that I'm always thinking about, which is if there's a ranked team that's an underdog to an unranked team, I generally like the unranked team.
Yeah.
Just sort of fading public sentiment at the most basic level. I think that the problem with Florida is they've played like, a little bit of a better strength of schedule than Kentucky has, but they just haven't looked that awesome. And they look sort of one-dimensional. They aren't asking Graham Mertz to do very much after he transferred over. He doesn't really throw the ball down the field very much. Against Tennessee, he really didn't do it at all. And that's a huge problem. I think that Kentucky's got a better quarterback than them. I think they have more ways to score than Florida does at this point in the season. So, all that being said, it feels like, Wildcats are just going to stack the box, just dare Mertz to beat them. And I'm not sure Graham Mertz is the guy that's just going to go off on a Kentucky defense like that. So I kind of like Kentucky here. The strength of schedule hasn't been good for Kentucky, but I think that this is, a good spot for them. I just don't trust Mertz in a big game, I guess.
Yeah,
Love
look,
this game.
look, I
Love
can.
this game, guys.
Yeah,
love
I
this
can
game.
hear. I can just hear Dad, just in my ear, just Florida number 22, and I'm catching points. You got to be kidding me. Of course, I'm going with the Gators. So go ahead,
Yeah.
Dad. Tell us why.
No way. You know
Whoa.
what? Hey, newsflash for all you SEC fans out there. Kentucky is now a football school, right? It's now a football school. This is going to be a signature win today. I love the Wildcats here. And I'm with Nate 100% because you look at this game and say, SEC, Florida, ranked team, going to Kentucky, unranked. You know, why you get 1.5? They just had this great win against Tennessee where they looked really good after the egg they laid against Utah. Kentucky's for real. Hey, you know me, guys. Run the football. Teams with big offensive lines that run the ball, they're going to run this thing right down Florida's throat. You know, Kentucky has built a football team. I mean, it's just even hard to imagine, right? Jack, last year with Will Levis, you were at that Ole Miss game, right? They should have beaten Ole Miss, and that would have changed their season. What did they throw? Like 3 interceptions in the final 2 minutes and fumbles on the goal line. Kentucky's a football team. They're now a football school. I love them in this game. They're going to run the ball. Florida's going to have to stack the box. Look, this is a serious football program that they've built, and this is going to be a signature win. So I love the Wildcats here at home over the Gators.
Nate, I figured it out because I'm like, why is he taking Kentucky? Dad, who does Will Levis play for?
Titans.
That's right.
There we go.
Okay. There we go.
There we go. It all
Now he's
came
the Kentucky
together.
guy. For 2 minutes, I was
comes
like,
back to the
what is his obsession with Kentucky? Then I was like, oh yeah, the Titans drafted Will Levis. So now he's a Kentucky guy. Now they got
Our
to be a
future
football
quarterback.
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
our
Yeah.
future.
Suddenly, Kentucky has a rich pedigree of developing quarterbacks for the NFL.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
0.
Hey, look, maybe your quarterback in the very near future. We'll see. So let's. Oh, before we do this, not a great segue here, but Dad, me and you, we woke up, we were here on time. Nate overslept. I think Nate needs a little healthy cell, little REM sleep, so he can get a little better
Nate,
sleep.
man.
Tell us about that.
Well, look, Nate, I love you like a son. You know that, right? But you gotta change your lifestyle. Yeah, because you got to be able to pop up in bed. You know, Jack and I are on this chat at like 7:15, ready to go. And what did you do? You got up at like 7:55 and popped on the screen with no lights. Here's your problem. You're not getting a good night's sleep, right? You're not sleeping. You're out there in Nevada. Look, you got to get a good night's sleep. Maybe you got to bed a little late last night. I only got 5 hours. I had to stay up and watch the Astros game. Then I had to watch the Seattle game. Then I had to prep for the show. I only got 5 hours, but I jump out of bed ready to go. Why? REM sleep from Healthy Cell. I look like I'm fresh as a daisy. And I drove 10 hours yesterday from Suffolk, Virginia to Pittsburgh, watch the Astros game, jump out of bed, and I'm ready to go. How do I do it? REM sleep. Go to healthycell.com, healthycell.com/Godzilla. I love that, /Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla, REM sleep, REM. Order that today. You're going to get 20% off with promo code Godzilla. Now, this isn't like it takes a week or 2 weeks. No, one night. Zip that thing off. It's a gel. Just tear it off. You down it 15 minutes before you go to bed. You're going to sleep like a baby. It supports all 4 hours of sleep. You're going to dream, and then that clock goes off. Bang. You're ready to go because you're in that deep sleep. Nate, I'm going to buy you some today. I'm going to ship it to you, and wherever you are in Nevada, I'm going to ship you some because I know after you get this, it's going to change your life. All you got to do is go to healthycell.com, promo code Godzilla, REM sleep, 20% off. Nate, I'm going to change your life.
Yeah, ship it to him. You know, look, Nevada, it's an all-night town, and 14 Manhattans before bed is just not a good way to get a good night's sleep. So, you know, what we need you to do, Nate, is just kind of drink some water and get a little REM sleep in your system so you can wake up on time instead of
the least hungover I've ever been for this show, and you guys are dragging me through the mud.
Yeah, well, you slept through your alarm, so that's on you, bud. Okay, so let's stay in the SEC for a minute. We're going to talk UGA, Auburn, college football's oldest rivalry here. Auburn, a 14-point dog. Auburn's not very good, guys. Only a 14-point dog. You got Hugh Freezus going hosting UGA in a game where maybe he's trying to assert that he doesn't suck as just an overall human being.
No,
Dad, we'll start with
he
for real.
sucks.
Yeah, I know.
You free sucks. No
we'll
question
start-
about it. Just ask Liberty. You free sucks. You know
Yeah,
what?
well-
This game's a joke. Okay. Yeah. Does anybody out here listening really think that the Auburn War Eagles are going to beat Kirby Smart and UGA? This is a matter of did they win by 5 touchdowns or 6? As far as I'm concerned, I can't believe this game's only 2 touchdowns. If this game was 22 or 25, I'd be betting Georgia. This is going to be a rollout. Look, Auburn. Let me give you one stat. Okay, one stat. Auburn's offensive line has allowed, get this, 29 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. That's worse than the Titans.
Wow.
29 tackles behind the line of scrimmage. And who are they playing? The team with the number 1 defensive line in the history of college football, Georgia, right? They're not going to be able to run the ball. So then what? The guy's going to get sacked 10 times, blow out UGA, lay the 14, and laugh your ass off.
Nate, I think the argument for Auburn here, at least as an SEC fan, is that this game means so much to both schools and can get really weird really quickly, much like Auburn, Alabama. It doesn't really matter how both teams play throughout the regular season. At any point during Auburn, Georgia, Auburn could do something weird and upset or come very close to upsetting. Of course, Georgia didn't look exactly terrific against, I believe it was South Carolina. So there's also that. However, here's my thing. Auburn is 1-3 at covering ATS against the spread. So they're not exactly covering games. I just don't know if 14 points is enough here. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, Georgia to me doesn't look like the number 1 ranked Georgia that we've seen for the last few seasons. There seem to be more problems this year with Georgia. They got down 14-3 against South Carolina, and they really kind of struggled to battle back. And that's sort of been the narrative for Georgia since the season started, is they've just sort of started slow against everyone. And they've had to sort of come roaring back in the third quarter, and then kind of hang on in the fourth quarter to try and put these teams away. Auburn's not probably built to beat them. I don't think they can score enough to beat Georgia because they just look like a mess offensively, which is a really weird thing to say about a Hugh Freeze team, but he's still trying to figure out some basic things like who's going to play quarterback for me. So until Hugh Freeze figures out who he wants to play quarterback, they're going to continue probably to not be very good on offense. So this is a good time for Georgia to meet them. My sort of thought is with Georgia playing so sort of starting so slowly is either wait until sometime in the second quarter after they get down to Auburn to try and maybe play them then at a reduced price live. Or if you want to bet it before the game, maybe play Auburn in the first half and then come back and play Georgia later on and try and kind of middle it. Georgia does that thing where they kind of pull away from teams late. So even the 2 touchdown score doesn't, make you feel really warm and fuzzy. So I think probably just maybe Auburn first half or, Georgia live, depending on kind of which team you want to bet on.
I think the live bet, I kind of like, DraftKings, you can do that if you're in a state where that's legal. Not every state you can do that. But if Auburn comes out to a fast start, even 14-7 or 10-0 or whatever.
Even if it's just 7-0, at some point in the game.
Then you're just going to shave 7 points off the spread and get Georgia -7, and they'll probably blow them out out the stadium pretty late in the game. Dad, did you ever?
What? The in-game live betting that DraftKings has. I'm old school. I bet the line. I bet the game. That's it. I don't bet halves. I don't bet pro. I bet one. What is it you guys call it where you have somebody gets a touchdown or something?
Props.
Props. I bet one prop last week that somebody would get a touchdown. Anyway, touchdown -110. I won that. So I'm batting 1,000 in props. Probably the only one I'm going to bet. But the in-game betting on DraftKings, right, where you can, the odds are changing constantly depending on the score. That can be that can be a lot of fun, right? It really can. Like if you're doing baseball, somebody gets a guy on second base with 1 out and the odds are changing. So it's kind of fun. You might want to check that out. Gives you a lot of action during the
Yeah,
game.
listen, when look, I mean, you're old school, you're from Jersey. In 1976, when you're at the phone booth calling Rocco to book a full slate of Saturday games, you can't then call him up 30 minutes later and go, "Hey, what's the line now on the Georgia game? I think I want to middle it here." So DraftKings gives you an opportunity that I think Rocco probably
I mean,
in
I remember,
1976
I,
couldn't.
I remember on a Sunday morning, I would walk to the local store. It wasn't a 7-Eleven; it was like a corner store. They had a phone booth there, and back then, I think it was a dime, right? You can make calls for a dime. So my father would have a sock full of dimes, and he bet football, and he would have to, like, at 12 o'clock, he'd keep putting that dime in and keep calling. It would be busy, 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 busy. And finally, somebody would answer, and they go. He'd put his bets in, but he'd have to stand there at the phone booth, waiting for them to answer the phone wherever they were. That was the old school. That was in the 70s. You can't, now you just go on your phone. Things have certainly changed, but and then once you put those bets in back then, like you said, your grandfather couldn't change them. I mean, they were in, and that was that. And they couldn't even go back. Like at the late games, there was no way to call because he couldn't call from home because he didn't want my mom to hear him. So he'd have to go out the phone booth.
Yeah. And you certainly couldn't call him up and say, "Do you think Travis Kelce is going to amass more than 47.5 yards receiving today?" So certainly things have changed. Maybe not so much in Nevada, but I mean, in Nevada, props are just now becoming legal to do on your phone as well. So, I mean, Nevada's pretty old school as well out there, Nate. Same type of deal. It's the Wild West for these states that just kind of legalized gambling and haven't had an institutional history of taking sports bets and booking sports bets. So kind of interesting to talk about sometimes the way that this landscape is really changing throughout the nation as the Supreme Court legalized this stuff a while ago.
Well, this is the first. This is the first week. This is the first weekend that gambling, the athletic gambling, is legal now in Kentucky. So almost every week, another state legislature passes it. So, and the way they do it in Virginia, like if you live in Virginia, you cannot bet any of the Virginia teams. Can't bet VMI, Virginia Tech, Old Dominion, etc. But Kentucky doesn't have that. So I was reading somewhere that Kentucky actually went online Friday, and 90% of the bets inside Kentucky
came
is
from Virginia.
on the Wildcat game.
Yeah. And that's true. And that's one of the reasons they don't allow you to bet on those in-state games sometimes, is because it almost feels like you're just taking people's money because they're just betting their team. So I kind of see why, but yeah, all these states have weird things. In Mississippi, you have to be standing in the middle of a casino. You can go to the sports book and do it on your phone. So you can have the mobile app and you can gamble on the mobile app in Biloxi or in Tunica at certain locations, but you have to be standing in the sports book. So why not just go to the cage? I mean, it's like it's the same thing. You can't do it. Like you can't even be in the casino. You can't be in your room. You try to put it up. They say there's a geo fence around. You have to be down there in the sports book. So every state has sort of its own laws. Pretty interesting. So okay, let's talk Penn State Northwestern here. This is a big spread. The Nittany Lions, John's favorite team, my dad's favorite team now, Penn State. He loves James Franklin. -27. We'll start with Nate so Dad can get all wound up. Talk about Penn State here.
I was getting wound up for Washington, Arizona.
Well, we're running a little behind. Why don't you do Washington?
Yeah.
Here, we'll do this. Nate do Washington, Arizona. Dad do Penn State, Northwestern.
Okay. I mean, Washington, Arizona's, an interesting game because Washington has beat the bag out of everybody. And Washington, because they're a West Coast team, we were talking about this earlier, like the Pac-12 is loaded, right? USC is good. Washington is good. Oregon State's good. Utah's very decent. There are a lot of good teams in the US or in the Pac-12. Colorado's, fun. Like there's a lot going on. There's a lot to be sort of happy about for a conference that's just disintegrating after this season. A lot of these teams are sort of, riding the high here. maybe none of them more than Washington. I mean, this is Michael Penix Jr.'s year. He looks like a clear sort of front runner for the Heisman. All they've done is blow teams out. Their sort of smallest margin of victory to start the year was against Cal last week. They only won by 27 in a 59-32 win. I don't think that Arizona is built to pull an upset against this Washington team for basically that reason. I mean, Arizona's struggled against much softer competition. They beat Mississippi State, but their quarterback threw 4 interceptions in the process and didn't look awesome doing it. They barely beat just a horrible Stanford team, 21-20. I mean, this team could very easily be 2-2. 19.5 feels like kind of a gift for me in terms of spread. I think Washington should just blow them away. They've blown everyone else away. I don't think that Arizona is, that tough of a test. So I like Washington Huskies here minus the big points.
All right, Nate taking the big points there. Washington Huskies minus 19.5. Dad, you like Penn State minus 27. Northwestern kind of sucks.
Well, I got him. DraftKings has got him at 26.5 right now.
So it moved because I wrote this down at 30 minutes ago. So it moved
just
30 minutes.
Just moved. But I just to the Washington game, I'm going to lay the 19 or 19.5. I mean, this team, Washington is better than anybody can see, and they're very explosive. So I like Washington minus the 19.5. You got to keep betting Penn State until they don't cover. I mean, as much as I dislike James Franklin because he is a class 1 douchebag, no question about it. The guy's an ass. But the bottom line is he will run these scores up, and he will tell you, I am going to run up the scores because when they decide who's going to get in the playoffs, they look at the margin of victory. So as long as the NCAA does that, I'm going to run the scores up. I'm going to call timeouts and embarrass teams at the end. As long as you're doing that, I'm going to keep laying the wood. I like Penn State here, minus the 26.5 blowout. Listen, yeah. I mean, they just got too many weapons. So it's a matter of, are they going to win by 21, 27, 28? I'm going to take Penn State minus 27.5.
Yeah, Northwestern's pretty rough shape here. Now, last week after the win, James Franklin asked in a press conference all the reporters their favorite coffee. I guess he was trying to get a line on his favorite coffee, or maybe he needed some new coffee. And if I were in the room, Dad, I would have told him Beard Vet coffee. Absolutely, 100%. My favorite coffee is Beard Vet coffee. Now, you go to beardvet.com. That's beardvet.com. Use the promo code Godzilla. 10% off all of your coffee and beard needs. I'm the only one here on the screen with a beard, but those beard tinctures can be useful as well. You got to take care of your hair on your face and on your head. So you can go to beardvet.com, get that 10% off. They got the whole bean. They got the grounds. They got different flavors. They got espresso, which I'm looking at it buying a espresso, sort of this like weird espresso kind of coffee maker. So maybe I'll start buying that as well. One of the reasons I love Beard Vet is the logistics. These guys get you the coffee quickly, and that 10% off basically wipes away any tax, any shipping. So it's a reasonable price. It's a reasonable price anyway. Like the coffee is just priced well, and that 10% off really gives you that extra bump. So listen, if you're listening to the show and you need some coffee, beardvet.com. That's beardvet.com. Promo code Godzilla, 10% off. Okay, let's go out west again here, Nate. Nevada, plus 24.5 at number 25, Fresno. Fresno State creeping up in the rankings here. Ranked team. Nate, one of the things that our listeners have to understand is, one, you went to Nevada, and so you're kind of a self-loathing Nevada fan, as I am Ole Miss fan. I also went to Nevada, but don't have as much emotional tie to it. Number two, you are not a big Fresno guy. Just the area of where Fresno is located in California, it's not your favorite part of California. That whole area of the country, I think you're not a huge fan of. And I'll tell you what, it kind of sucks there sometimes. So I understand. I'm never like jetting off to Bakersfield to play a little golf. So, Nate, tell us why Nevada can cover the 24.5 spread.
Yeah, I don't vacation in the Central Valley as much as I used to when my grandparents lived in Fresno. That's for sure. So Yeah, I mean, Fresno's like good. Fresno's a real team. I will concede that. They had 2 road games against Power 5 opponents. They beat them both. They beat Purdue. They beat Arizona State. They just smoked Kent State last week by 43 points. This feels like probably like Nevada feels like they're probably about on the same level as Kent State. I mean, the numbers are just like shockingly and hilariously bad for Nevada, who used to be pretty good in the Mountain West. I mean, we're 125th nationally in scoring offense, average 17 points per game. 131st in scoring defense. They give up about 41.2 points per game this season. On a per play basis, Nevada gains about 4.7 yards per play, and they give up 8.7 yards on defense per play.
Perfect.
So
That's a great
things
stat.
are like not awesome for Nevada right now in
Not
any sort of
awesome.
area. It's a horrible offense. It's a horrible defense. There are a few bright spots. And Fresno State is just probably just going to beat the bag out of Nevada. I mean, Nevada's lost 10 in a row. It doesn't seem like they're going to stop doing that. Since the beginning of last season, they're 2-14. So it's, this is like sustained, like bad play. And Fresno State's been hotter than a house of fire. They have like a real program. So I think Fresno State probably just rolls over them. I'm not usually a huge fan of laying 24.5 points, particularly in a conference like the Mountain West, but Fresno State's just on a different level than Nevada is. I mean, Nevada's just struggling to keep their head above water most of the time.
I think you summed it up. They're not awesome. They got about as much chance winning this game as Mike Pence has as being the Republican nominee for president. Zero. Okay, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So, and Fresno State, I mean, this team, they're in the top 25. They're ranked. I mean, they're playing great football. Nevada's got so many issues. The only dog that so far I've picked today is Colorado and
Kentucky.
Pride
No,
plus
Kentucky's
21
not
and a
dog.
half.
Yeah.
That's it. What? Who?
No, I thought Kentucky was, but no, they're not.
No, they're the favorite. I got to lay 1.5. So look, I'm just going to go with Fresno State here. You're not going to cover all these games, but I think I'm going to probably win 3 out of 4. By the way, just for the record, college football so far this season against the spread, I'm 19-11. That's plus 8 games against the spread. Nate wishes he had my record, but someday he can grow up to be just like me. 19-8. I'm going to go with Fresno State minus the 24.5.
So when you give up 9 yards a play on defense, I don't even know what the meeting is on Monday to be like, all right, so we need to tackle with our shoulders, not our hands. I really don't know.
Not our fingertips.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's just a scheme issue. But listen, I mean, I feel bad for Nevada. Like basketball, they have Musselman. They're firing on all cylinders. Football, they have Norvell. They're winning games. And then, it's Nevada. So these guys are going to leave. Good coaches leave. And then you have to rebuild and you're going to suck for a while. And that's kind of what's going on here. Fresno has always had a pretty good football team, and they're going to continue to do so. So I like that big spread as well. All right. Let's go. Let's skip Missouri Vanderbilt. I really put that on the schedule because that's Dan's alma mater, and we're running a little behind. I want to have a lot of time to talk about the Notre Dame game here. That's our saucy game of the week. So
wow, saucy game of the week, baby.
That's right, and we'll get to that in a minute. But let's do Texas at Kansas here. Nate, huge Kansas guy. Loved him last year. Loved him this year. I'm just kidding. He hates Kansas. Also hates Texas because he's an Oklahoma State fan. Doesn't really, Nate, this is not a game for you here. So we're going to start with you. Kansas is a 16-point dog. They're undefeated again, and they host, I believe they host the Longhorns. Or is the game in Austin?
It's in Austin.
It's in Austin. So they have to travel to Austin, play the number 3 team in the nation. Can they cover that 16-point spread?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Kansas does this thing where they just overperform, right? Last time Kansas went to Austin, of course, they did, pull, basically one of the biggest upsets in college football history, certainly in Kansas football history, because they never really win. But I don't think that probably happens here. The Longhorns just look like really good. They haven't lost yet. They look every part the sort of part of a college football contender. Quinn Ewers has been great. Even if his numbers aren't just eye popping sometimes, he's been incredibly efficient. This looks, I mean, the defense is unbelievable. This just feels, I'm just not sure that this Kansas team, like, they're a lot of fun to watch, but if you can stop them from running the ball, they really just sort of fall apart. So from that perspective, I think that Texas probably just shuts down the run and just forces Daniels to beat them. He hasn't shown the ability to be able to do that very much. If he's really pressured, they win some kind of wild shootouts, but by and large, that doesn't seem to be his game. He's not going to just throw him on his back. I think this is probably an easy win for Texas.
Dad, this I hate to cut you off, Nate, but this is when I just get so frustrated, Nate, because he just hates Kansas and he won't just have any fun with the Jayhawks. And they're undefeated again. They're going to Texas. It's 16 points. They can cover a 16-point spread. All they got to do is keep it close. A couple field goals here, keep a couple touchdowns. They're an annoying team to play because they always seem to find a way to score stupid touchdowns. I do agree that Texas is an incredible team. And probably is going to be in the the college football playoff conversation. But Dad, I like the big spread. I mean, I want Kansas plus 16.
I'm with you here, and
there we go.
He hates Kansas. Right. This is the first. This is the first. I mean, this is the second dog I'm taking, other than Colorado. You know why? This team's got nothing to lose. The Longhorns. I know they look great. I know everybody's there in the football conversation. But Kansas, they just score. I don't know how they score. All of a sudden, you look up, they got 21, 28, 27. They're going to move the football. No question, Texas is legitimate number 3 team in the country. But this is a Big 12 game. This is a conference game. Kansas is undefeated. They score. If you got to look at it this way. I think they score 24 today, right? Add 16 to 24. That's 40. That means Texas is going to have to score 7 touchdowns, six touchdowns to win this game and cover. I'm going to go with the 16. This is a game where you take the 16, honestly. You take the 16 and you can really have some fun with this game because Texas is going to get up, Kansas is going to score. Texas is going to get up, Kansas is going to score. So if you're laying the 16, you're pulling your hair out. If you have Kansas, you're laughing your ass off because they're going to keep scoring. I love Kansas. Big 12 matchup. Take the 16, have some fun.
That's what I'm saying. And look, Dan Angel, who's going to join us in a minute, wrote this game up. So you go to GodzillaWins.com. He's on Texas as well. And he's got the spread at minus 16.5, so it's gone down. So I'm sure he's going to love that as well. So we're split here, but look, I'm a Kansas believer, always have been. I went to Lawrence once in my life, and it was like a singular, it was just such an amazing experience for me. I don't know why. I just loved everything about Lawrence, Kansas. And so I'm just a huge Jayhawks fan for no reason. Dad, if you're in Virginia, one of the things you got to do is you got to check out Rosie's Gaming Emporium. Tell us how, if you're in Virginia, how you can do that.
Listen, Rosie's is so much fun. I now that I'm in Pittsburgh, we still have to go back there. I spent the entire summer at my suite at Colonial Downs in Rosie's. Let's go to rosiesgaming.com. They have so many locations in Virginia. Vinton, right by Roanoke. They have Collinswood, right by Danville. Of course, New Kent, outside of Richmond. They're one in Richmond, right by our studios, a mile away. I can virtually walk there. They've got Hampton. Now they got the big one in Dumfries in Northern Virginia. Here's the thing about Rosie's, okay? If you like to play the slots, biggest jackpots you're going to find, biggest jackpots, biggest payouts. And the reason is the way they do it, the way they do the license in Virginia, they have a less of a government takeout than everyone else has. So they have less of a takeout, which means more money for you, more winnings for you. Plus, if you're a new player, you go there, you get from $20 to $1,000 in free play. Just spin the wheel, you get your card, you spin the wheel. I got $50 in free play. You can go there, get free play. It's going to be the most fun. Food is excellent, drinks are great. But here's the other thing. It's a fun place. You are guaranteed to have fun there. And if you want to bring your significant other there, it's a great date night, right? That's where I bring in. Great date night. For you guys out there, you might get lucky twice. Go to rosiesgaming.com, rosiesgaming.com. Best place to have fun in Virginia, rosiesgaming.com.
All right, so we got about 10 minutes left, and we want to save a lot of time for our saucy game of the week. That's the Notre Dame game here. But first, we're going to go very quickly. We're going to welcome in Dan Angel to talk that Notre Dame game in a minute. But I want to focus on the Ole Miss LSU game here, which is a big
Oh
game
my God.
for LSU fans here.
Are you going to go on your Ole Miss rant again today?
No, because I want to leave time for the sauce. I don't need to. I've made my point. I was right. I told you that. I know this team. I've been doing this forever. I mean, I've been following this crap forever. I knew they were going to lose to Alabama by 1,000. They did. It was a sloppy game. It looked ugly on both sides. Alabama blows too. And they're going to lose to LSU. Nate doesn't think they're going to lose to LSU, but they are. And LSU is going to cover the spread. So very quickly, 30 seconds to each of y'all. Tell me why LSU is going to win by 6 touchdowns, Nate.
They're not going to win by 6 touchdowns. Ole Miss is a good team, and they're more balanced. I think that Ole Miss is going to be able to score pretty easily against this LSU defense that sucks, particularly in coverage. They can't defend the pass at all. Their coverage rating with PFF is like over 100, like 107th or something. So, Ole Miss will score. This is a soft matchup for Lane Kiffin to dial up some stuff. Jackson Dart's been good. He's coming in as like a highly rated quarterback. This is Ole Miss underdog money line. Don't even take the points. Ole Miss wins outright.
Dad, 30 seconds. We got to get to the Notre Dame game.
Ole Miss. You know what?
You guys are.
I hear everything you're saying. Lane Kiffin doesn't win big games. He's got to beat somebody good, right? The Alabama thing was a disaster last week. They just didn't play well. I think he's going to get his team up. Go Rebs! I'm taking the points.
Dan, please tell me you like LSU.
I like the over. I mean, these are the These are the top 2 scoring offenses in the SEC. So I think both teams are going to throw, and we're going to see the over cash. Also, Jack, touching on Lawrence, you clearly didn't go to a football game there because that stadium is just not a great place to see a game.
I couldn't agree more, Dan.
Allen Fieldhouse is fantastic, but Memorial Stadium sucks.
Yeah, I was there for an academic conference in the summer, and I don't know what. And I didn't have any money, so I had to take the Greyhound from Lawrence to Kansas City in order to take a flight out or something. I was like taking a bus.
Could be worse.
Yeah, and but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why I liked Lawrence. I just liked it.
I think they put every hill in the state of Kansas on the KU campus in Lawrence.
So that's the other thing, right? I was like, wow, this is not flat. So
yeah,
fun, but yeah, I don't know. I really liked it.
I think it might have been because as Missouri students, they made us when Missouri played Kansas my freshman year. We were able to get tickets through our university, but the University of Kansas made us walk from one end of campus to the other as far as parking went to get to the game.
Love that. Yeah,
you guys,
that's a rivalry right there. Okay, so we got about 6 minutes here. We're going to talk a little Notre Dame football. Our saucy game of the week. Number 11 Notre Dame travels to Duke University, play number 17 Duke. Dad, this is our Red State barbecue saucy game of the week. Tell us about Red State.
This is our saucy game of the week. Notre Dame going to Duke. Whether you're still smoking, hey, I'm a Pittsburgh man right now. Weather's nice. I'm going to be grilling today, baby, because I got my Red State barbecue sauce. You got to go to the backyard. Spend your weekends. You can be tailgating. Doesn't matter what you're doing, but you're going to be firing that grill up, baby. Football, grills, you got to have barbecue sauce. The barbecue sauce you need is America's and Godzilla's favorite. This is the saucy game of the week, Red State barbecue. Now, here's why I love them. 8 different flavors. You're going to find the one sauce that tickles your fancy. But I like all of them because it depends on what mood I'm in. That's the beauty of this. 8 different flavors. You know what? You're going to find the right one. You can put them on. You put them on your steak. You put them on your brisket. You put them on your barbecue. You put them on your chicken. Whatever you got, you put it right there. I love my BBQ Red State barbecue sauce. You know what? You name it, Red State offers 8 different flavors. They got sweet, they got spicy, they got smoky, they got tangy, they got red hot. You got to do it. All you got to do is go to bbq.com. That's Red State, bbq.com. Let me say it again. redstatebbq.com. And you can order it there. America's favorite barbecue sauce for your football, for tailgating, and got a special offer for you today. It's going to knock your socks off. Promo code Godzilla10. Got to put the 10 there because 10 means 10% off, right? So you put in promo code Godzilla10. You're going to get 10% off. You got to get this. This is going to change your grilling life. RedStateBBQ.com. Promo code Godzilla10. As sponsor of our Saucy Game of the Week and Godzilla Wins. We thank Red State Barbecue for their support. Get it, love it. Now, little coffee, little Red State Barbecue. You're going to be loving life.
That's right. I just ordered the Memphis Sweet here, and I may also grab some of this Alabama Show Horse. Love that. Love the Alabama sauce as well. So go to Red State BBQ. Promo code Godzilla 10% off there. Okay, Notre Dame 5.5-point favorite over Duke. Dan, we're going to start with you. You can go to GodzillaWins.com and find his full write-up on Notre Dame v. Duke. Dan, what do you see in this game?
I think Notre Dame is a little too cute for its own good. They have a great power back in Audric Estime, but they don't use him properly. I mean, they really should have won that game against Ohio State. They were the stronger team. Like, Lou Holtz took a bunch of crap for the result after saying that Ohio State is kind of soft. Well, he was kind of right. I mean, Ohio State is a fairly soft team. Notre Dame just didn't take advantage of their weaknesses, and I don't think Notre Dame has learned its lesson, and I think that means that Duke covers because Notre Dame doesn't push the advantages that it has in the trenches, and that allows Duke to stick around. We already saw the Irish not the Irish. We already saw what a running quarterback can do when Duke dominated that matchup with Clemson, and I think that Notre Dame is going to have the same kind of problems, so I'm trying to stop Riley Leonard. So I like Duke to cover.
All right. Dan likes Duke to cover. Nate, what do you think?
I like Duke to cover too. Riley Leonard's just been ridiculous for Duke. And, Notre Dame have been good. I mean, there's no shame in losing to Ohio State. They should have won that game, though. And I think that the defense looks a lot better than it is because they only gave up 17 points to Ohio State. But Ohio State still moved the ball. They just sort of, didn't finish drives, but they still moved the ball pretty consistently against Notre Dame. I think that Duke will also move it pretty consistently against Notre Dame, and I just think 5.5 is too much. So I like Duke as well here to cover the spread.
Dad.
So let me get this straight. I'm supposed to bet a team and lay 5.5 points who can't put 11 men on the field in 2 successive plays at the end of the game to beat Ohio State. Not one play. 2 plays in a row. They can't figure out, hey, we only got 10 guys on defense. The first time, Ohio State was like, holy crap, they only got 10 guys and we didn't exploit it. The second time they got 10 guys again, and they're like, let's just audible to this hole here where there's no defender. And I'm supposed to bet this team? How do you have 10 guys on defense at the end of the biggest game of the season for 2 plays and give up the winning touchdown? I'm taking Duke plus the 5.5 just out of protest. Hey, guys, got to put 11 defenders on the field. What a clown show they got going on in Notre Dame. I'm going with the Dukies plus 5.5.
Yeah, look, I kind of like Notre Dame here. I don't think Duke is for real, so I'm just going to take the Irish minus 5.5. I think the Irish are for real and can cover this game. I think this is one of those games where, we love Duke, and then all of a sudden they get blown out by somebody. It's going to happen at some point. It could be the Irish here, although I agree that the Irish haven't always looked impeccable this year. So, we'll see. Look, that's our saucy game of the week. Right?
They can't even put the defense on the field. Give me a break. I mean,
well, they can do it for most plays. It's just like a 5-yard penalty. So, not that big deal. Okay, so we want to thank Dan Angel for joining us here for the saucy game of the week. Coming up at 9 a.m. Eastern time, James Tillman III going to talk some NFL for us, get us the coverage. We will be right back for all of your NFL coverage, 9 to 10 on the John Fredericks Radio Network.
Gotta get me some beard vet.
You're listening to Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network. For a deeper dive without the jive, visit the website of winners, GodzillaWins.com. Let's get back to the show with the guys in the know, John, Jack, and Nate. It's Godzilla Wins on the John Fredericks Media Network.
All right, welcome back to the Godzilla Wins Saturday Picks Show here in Mississippi for me, all over the country for the rest of us. Looks like Dad is MIA for a minute while I go get some more coffee, some more Beard Vet coffee there. We want to welcome in James Tillman III, a senior contributor for GodzillaWins.com. James does all of the Chicago Bears coverage for us. So you can go to GodzillaWins.com on Saturdays and Sundays, usually Sundays, and see his expert pick for the week against the spread for the Chicago Bears. We our condolences to him for having to follow the Bears every single week. This was supposed to be the year. Looks like they still suck. And you can always find his recaps of the games during the week at GodzillaWins.com. Listen, Nate, I know you overslept here. I'm never going to let you forget it. One of the ways I think it would help you to get a little bit better sleep. I mean, I know you get enough sleep sometimes, but some better sleep might be to go to mypillow.com. Look, mypillow.com has it's just an incredible promo code for us. mypillow.com, promo code FUN, F-U-N, promo code FUN. That's 80% off all of your pillow needs. That MyPillow 2.0 is an incredible pillow. I buy it all the time. I update my pillows pretty constantly. I know there's sort of a stereotype that men never buy pillows, but when you love the MyPillow so much, you buy them constantly. You can buy the robes, the slippers, the hand towels. Got a lot of MyPillow hand towels, and the reason is because of this promo code FUN, 80% off. Just an incredible promo code and great for gifts too. These are good stocking stuffers, unless you're buying a pillow, in which case you can't fit in a stocking. You'll just have to put it under the tree there. But go to mypillow.com. That's mypillow.com. Promo code FUN. 80% up to 80% off on all products. Okay, we're here for some NFL coverage. We're pumped up for the 9 to 10 hour NFL. Weird week in the NFL last week. Gonna promises be a weird one this week. Thanks, James, for joining us here. Now, we're gonna start with the Atlanta Falcons. What's that? Oh, yeah. We're going to start here with the Atlanta Falcons traveling to Jacksonville. It is still hot in Florida, and the Falcons, I don't know. They're my team, but maybe they suck. I don't know about Desmond Ridder here. He looks like he overthrows everybody. They didn't exactly look like an offense on fire in Detroit last week, although maybe Detroit's for real. Hard to say. I think the Falcons are a 3-point dog. +3 is the spread. Nate, we're going to start with you because you've been on the Falcons. I know you're not getting off the train right now. Just one bad week against the Lions, which is, the Lions are a real team, I think. So what do you think? You like the Falcons here to cover against the Jags?
I do. We've talked about it. My Falcons love is pretty strong this year. My skepticism of the Jaguars is also fairly strong this year. I like the Falcons here. I think this is a good spot for them. I don't think that Jacksonville should be a 3-point favorite in like a neutral site against Atlanta. They're playing this game overseas. They're playing this game in London. I don't know. I just don't see it. It just looks like a home field advantage is baked into the spread where there is no home field advantage. Trevor Lawrence.
They're in London, guys.
Oh yeah, that's right.
London.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, Jacksonville actually is playing 2 games in London back to back.
Yeah, so it looks like it's lined for some sort of home field advantage, but I just don't see any. Obviously in London there isn't going to be any. So, and they're both traveling from the same time zones. Trevor Lawrence just sucks as a favorite. He's 2-7 in his career against the spread as a favorite. I just don't think that this is probably a good spot for them. I think Atlanta, the scary thing is that I think Desmond Ridder is probably going to have to pass because that's where Jacksonville's most vulnerable is in their secondary. So this could just be, we really see what Desmond Ridder is here. If he can throw the ball, I think, they have a real chance at contending in the NFC South. If he can't, then, you can start to throw those tickets away. But I like the Falcons. I'm not getting off yet.
James.
I'm going to follow suit here. I'm going to go with the Falcons as well. They're 6-0 versus Jacksonville against the spread of the last 6 here. The Jags are 0-10 against the spread in their last 10 against NFC South, and Jacksonville is also 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 October games. So I'm gonna follow suit and go with the Falcons.
You know, screw the Jaguar. I'm so sick of this team. You know what? I am so sick of Trevor Lawrence and Jacksonville and their coach and all that. You know, they go at home and they get trounced by Houston. Give me a break. I'll tell you the other thing that has really pissed me off, James. Okay, next week Tennessee's got to go there, right? Well, meantime, Jacksonville's there for 2 weeks. You know what an advantage that is? That is a huge advantage. This is like, once again, the NFL screwing the Titans every way they can because they're a small market team and everybody loves Jacksonville. So why does Jacksonville get to stay there for 2 weeks and we got to fly 7 hours across the pond, time difference and everything else? Next week's game has pissed me off. It's another NFL scam against Tennessee. I tell you what, I hope they go there next week and kick their ass. I love Atlanta. Plus, Jacksonville, they got trounced by Houston. They were never in the game. This team is smoke and mirrors. They're everybody's favorite, NFL favorite. Everybody loves them. No way. I'm taking Atlanta. I'm taking run the ball. I'm taking Atlanta +3. They're going to win the whole game. Screw Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, the +3 is kind of interesting. That's a lot of points. I think that's a little bit of an overreaction to the Lions game. And I think watching Desmond Ridder play football, it doesn't inspire confidence in anyone. So I can understand kind of the +3, but if this were like +1.5, maybe, okay, maybe Jacksonville wins the game. You know, you can squeak by with a win, but +3 is way too much, I think, in a game in London, like we're saying. So, you know, we'll see. Well, I'm sure I'll be watching as well. But yeah, I like the Falcons +3. I mean, I just think that's too much for Jacksonville's not that good. I mean, they just aren't. And they got smoked by Houston, who is actually good. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. So we all like the Falcons here, all +3. That means that, Dad, your sign.
Guaranteed loser.
What? What happened to my sign?
Yeah, I don't know. It fell off the wall. That's great. Just okay. Yeah, great radio. Go ahead and put it back up. So we all like the Falcons here. Probably means the Falcons get blown out of the country. So we'll see. Now let's go to the Miami Dolphins traveling up to Buffalo. Dolphins are a +2.5 point dog. That doesn't make any sense. Did I write that down wrong?
No, you didn't write that down wrong.
Nope.
The Dolphins
right.
are a dog?
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Oh, God. You know, what is that? Nate, just go. That's like ridiculous.
I mean, I think this is like the ultimate sort of sell high spot for Miami. I mean, they're probably not going to score 70 this week against Buffalo.
They could score 60. Buffalo's defense isn't really that impressive.
I don't know. I mean, I think that people are kind of trashing Buffalo, and they're down on them just because they haven't looked as dominant as other seasons. But I still think they're probably. I mean, I think there's like an argument to be made that the Bills are still the best team in the league. I'm comfortable making that argument. I think that this is probably a matchup between the two best teams in the league right now at this point in the season. And you know, I mean, I think that there's probably I think there's a reasonable expectation that Miami could regress a little bit after a 70-point showing. You know, Denver is not good. They've been beset by. They've been beset by systemic issues.
Quit in the third. Nate, they quit playing football in the third quarter. That game last week has got to be the biggest disgrace to the NFL in history. And the Sean Payton, who's a complete fraud. The whole Denver team's a fraud. They quit playing defense in the third quarter. I mean, these are professional football players. They should be embarrassed for the rest of their lives in that game. I don't know whose turn it is. I'm betting the Bills, right?
Well, it was my turn before you took
Why are they a 2.5 point favorite? What? Miami just scores 70. They look unbeatable. They're going to Buffalo. Why are they a 2.5 point underdog? You know why? Because Buffalo is a better football team. They're at home. They're gonna win this game. I love the Bills. And I tell you what, the whole Denver thing, there should be an investigation.
There's not going to be an investigation.
I actually agree with everything John said. That was my pick too.
Yeah, I don't see it here. I mean, I like the Dolphins. There's not going to be an investigation. The Broncos just couldn't stop them, and that's just how it goes sometimes in football. James, what do you think? You on the Buffalo train here?
I'm going Miami here. I like
There we
them.
go.
They're 6-0 in their last six against the spread. 5-0 in their last five road games, and 7-0 in their last seven times versus AFC. So I'm going to go
Wow.
with Miami here.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing with Miami. They travel well. They go up there. They play up there in Buffalo and New England all the time, and they've been winning a lot of games. I don't like this at all. I don't see what you guys see with Buffalo. I think they probably lose this game by a touchdown. But
No, they play
shall
defense.
see.
See, they
Yeah, well,
they actually play defense, right?
they don't
So now
play.
Miami-
They don't play. Their defense isn't that good. Like the idea that Buffalo's defense is as good as you think it is just not true. Their defense has been beset by a lot of issues lately. They're not the defense of 2 or 3 years ago. Miami's going to score the football. Like they're going to score touchdowns. They're scheming better than everybody in the NFL right now. A couple of years ago, when the Rams won a Super Bowl, and then before that, when they got to the Super Bowl with Goff, your poster's going to fall down again, Dad. The Rams and Sean McVay, he out-schemed everyone in the NFL. Mike McDaniel is in the same situation here, and that's what's going to happen. So this is like ridiculous, and we're moving on. Dolphins plus 2.5. Okay, let's do Vikings at Panthers. Here's a game nobody cares about. Vikings are minus 4.5. I guess let's start with James here.
Oh my God.
What do you think? You like Minnesota to cover the stupid spread in the game that nobody cares about?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Jack. I'm not crazy about this game. Minnesota, they actually the way they mishandled that last possession there. I mean, first of all, the Chargers going for it on their own 24-yard line. I thought that was, being that
Yeah.
you're up by 4, I thought the obvious choice would be to kick it away, but they they didn't. But then Minnesota, they couldn't get their act together despite being on the 24-yard line. So I'm going to go with the Vikes here, but I can't speak for anyone else, but I'm not crazy about this game.
Nate, it's got to be the Panthers, right? Vikings are a dumpster fire.
I mean, I think that the Vikings are going to win a game at some point. If I was going to play the spread, I kind of am leaning Vikings at this point, just because they've been unlucky. They've lost close games, and Kirk Cousins is just quietly just sort of balling this season. He's 344 yards in first game, 364 yards in the second game, 367 yards in the third game. I played like a bunch of passing props because he was like listed at like 295 and he flew over like all of them. I played over 325, played over 350. He covered everything. My thought is probably that I just sort of like playing these Kirk Cousins passing props now. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing and just take him over on everything because it's like hilarious to watch him just throw for 367 yards and a loss. I mean, he just throws it like constantly. It just looks ridiculous, and they're a ridiculous team. I think picking a spread, I'd probably take Minnesota, but my money will probably just be on Kirk Cousins just airing it out again because that's all he seems to be doing now.
So you can go to GodzillaWins.com and read Toby Reithray's betting previews and his recaps for the whole NFL. He's got a whole system. He's a hilarious writer. Just go to GodzillaWins.com and you can find those NFL betting previews. One of the things that he says, he's got the Kirk Cousins rule, which is that Kirk Cousins will throw for 355 yards and 3 touchdowns and a loss. So, it's like every week he just plays incredible football and they can't seem to win. Dad, what do you think? I just they don't win games and they're a 4.5-point favorite. They're not going to win by 6. So, even
when they win in the last second. Somebody kicks a field goal, right? Yeah. I mean, that's how they win. I'm going to take the Panthers here at 4.5. This is a game that I'm not going to watch. So, but look, if we pick every game, and I've got a winning record in the NFL. I'm I think 6 games over 500. I was 1-0-1 on Monday night. So I had that winner. I'm going to go with the Panthers plus 4.5. I mean, why not?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why not? Hey, that's a great strategy there. No need for numbers when you can just ask why not. Listen, let's move on to the next game. If it were 1986, this game would be on Sunday night, and we would just be locked I mean, we'd be talking about it for an hour. Broncos, Bears. Broncos traveling to Chicago here to play
86.
James's Bears team. It's not 1986, it's 2023. So this game is on at 1:00, and I'm not even sure anyone in Soldier Field's going to be watching. James, what do you think here? Broncos at Bears. We'll start with you. I believe the Bears are a 3.5-point dog. So Broncos minus
And
3.5 after losing by 51 last week.
and that I was gonna mention that exact same point, Jack. So the fact that you're a home dog at that against a team that just lost a game by 50 points, that says a lot right there. And it's not like Denver's like any good anywhere, So um, the Bears continue to be a dumpster fire. Last week it was Justin Fields, and press conference this year was Chase Claypool, basically saying the team wasn't utilizing him to playing to his strengths. So it seems like that this team is just unhappy across the board. So, but I'm going to go with Denver to cover because the Bears just can't seem to do anything right this year at all.
If you ever thought about, does God watch football? I think there's no question about it. God watches football, and God manipulated the NFL schedule for this game on this week. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
No.
Just
you
so
got
we
a
can
team
all
that
have a
just
laugh.
you got a team that just got beat by 51 points, going to a team that is horrible. They haven't even been in a game,
No.
and then they go on the road. And even though Denver got beat by 51, they're 3.5-point favorite. I mean, on the road where somebody just laid 70 on them. I mean, look, if you're
And
the
700
Bears,
yards of offense too.
Yeah, look,
if you're the Bears, you have got to show up for this game at home. I know you're 0-3. I know you've gotten blown out of every game. I know the whole Justin Fields thing is a fiasco. He can't run. They want him to pass. He can't pass. They have no offensive line. Everything for the Bears has crumbled in 3 weeks. This is a team I thought would be competitive for the Central
everybody
Division.
thought that.
I did, but
Everybody thought that. I mean, everybody thought the Bears would be competitive.
Yeah.
And they're not. I mean, they're just a franchise.
They're
in total
horrible. I'm
disarray.
going to take the 3.5 because I think what Sean Payton's got going on there in Denver is a complete and utter clown show. His team quit on him last week. The guy's a fraud. He's been out of football. They think, I'm going to go to Denver now, and I'm going to just snap my fingers. I'm the great Sean Payton. I'll do an onside kick at the second half and win a Super Bowl. Come on, you got our players. Russell Wilson's done. The whole team quit. I'm going with the Bears. I think they win this whole game and turn their season around at home against. Take the 3.5.
Nate, the Sean Payton thing is kind of interesting because we can talk about this with Bill Belichick too, some other coaches, maybe Bruce Arians before he went up to the box. I mean, these guys, if they don't have a good quarterback, maybe they're not as good as we think they are. Like, I don't know how many coaches out there, if they don't have an elite quarterback, are winning Super Bowls. And it seems like maybe Sean Payton is in the same realm here. Without Drew Brees, all of a sudden he doesn't look so hot. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting because Russell Wilson's actually played pretty decently. They did score 20 against Miami, and Russell Wilson threw for, over 300 yards. He's thrown, he's actually put up decent numbers. He doesn't look like a total shell of himself like he did with Hackett. So I think there's improvement offensively for Denver. But yeah, I mean, defensively, obviously they're struggling a little bit with confidence at the very least, probably now. But just like what a hilarious game. So yeah, I mean, the Broncos get beat by 50, Bears get beat by 31. And then the Broncos go on the road and they're a 3.5-point favorite. I think probably the Broncos here. I mean, the Broncos had a bad week. The Bears are just like bad. The Bears don't do anything well. Football Outsiders has them ranked in the bottom 3 overall in defense and on offense. That's not good.
It's not good.
I don't think that the Broncos are probably as helpless as they looked against Miami. I do think that the Bears are probably about as helpless as they've looked so far in the season. So I think that Sean Payton can finally notch that first win of his career in the Mile High
In
City.
Denver, that's right. Look,
in the famous
it's
in the infamous words of the late great Dennis Green, one of my favorite football coaches ever, as far as Denver, they are who we thought they were. They suck. Okay. You can't look, you just can't bring a coach in without personnel. You guys mentioned some of these coaches, they get personnel. They have to be there you got to build the team. They just thought he's going to come in. They got the core and he's going to snap his fingers and draw up a play. And somehow they're going to win. This team is a dumpster fire, worse than the Vikings.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with the Bears at 3.5.
They do have personnel, though. I mean, they had a great defense last year. That was the whole thing with the Bears, is if they could just score, or the Broncos, if they could score, then they would have been fine. I mean, their defense was like elite last year, top 5. So they do have personnel. They just, look, 82 point differential coming in for these two teams, minus 82 or plus 82 point differential for these two teams.
After 3 games.
Tough. Yeah, tough. Well, no, I'm just talking about last week. So, okay, let's move on. Oh, look, before we move on, I mean, we got to talk a little target trading here. So listen, if you want to unlock your financial security, you need to go to targettrading.co. That's targettrading.co. Patrick and company will help you do that. This is an education, not a risk. So when you're dealing with futures and all sorts of trading like that, you need to have an education. You need to have people who are behind you 100%, who can give you the education to make educated decisions on your financial future. So you can go to targettrading.co. That's targettrading.co and start to unlock your financial future today. That's targettrading.co. Check them out. They are a great company. Okay.
And mention Godzilla or John Frederick Show and get 10% off your tuition.
That's right. That's right.
15% off. I'm sorry. You got 15% off.
15% off if you mention.
And look, all of our students in there, we got about 133 now of our students and viewers in there. Every one of them has been successful. I mean, his track record is sterling. It's a lot of work, takes a lot of discipline. It's a great second income, but you got to stay with it. My wife Ann's in it. She loves it. It's hard though. Go to targettrading.co. Promo code Godzilla or John Frederick Show or Jack, whatever you want to say, 15% off tuition. Make money.
That's right. Okay, so we're a little behind here, so we got to speed up. We're going to do Ravens-Browns. I want to stick with that game actually for a minute because that's important. The Ravens are a 1.5-point dog traveling to Cleveland. Cleveland looks like the team that everybody thought they would be, other than maybe Deshaun Watson is a bit shaky, but that defense is nasty. Nate, we'll start with you here. I mean, Ravens have a laundry list of injuries again, but you got the Lamar Jackson show going up against probably what looks to be maybe the best defense in the NFL right now. Cowboys, of course, are in that conversation as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a defensive battle, right? The Ravens are always injured. That's been the season for multiple years now. Cleveland's got their own injuries on the offensive line, and obviously Nick Chubb going down hurts. This feels like a defensive battle. I mean, Cleveland, though, is just hysterically good, and we would be remiss not to talk about them for a second. I think they've allowed 5 snaps in the red zone this season so far through 3 games. The Titans were the first team to get into the Browns' red zone this season in the 3rd game. And it was because they lost a fumble. So the Titans recovered on the Browns' 17-yard line, and then the Titans lost 9 yards and kicked a field goal. So the defense is really ridiculous. It's insane. That being said, I think that, they haven't played a lot of good offenses. I like Baltimore here just to sort of I think that the narrative is all Browns right now. And I'm willing to kind of just veer off and say Baltimore, can grind out a tough divisional win here.
I don't see that. I think Baltimore's not as good as people think they are. I think the Browns are the real deal. James, what do you think?
I'm going with Baltimore in this one. 6-2 in their last road game. 6-2 against the spread. In their last 8 road games, and they're 12-3 against the spread in their last 15 games at Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, they do own the Browns. That is true. I mean, historically, Baltimore just comes in and murders the Browns, much like the Browns kind of murder Cincinnati. Dad, I mean, you saw him play last week against Tennessee. What do you think? Or was that week 3? Yeah, last week.
Week 3, yeah. I watched that whole game. We didn't have a drive. We didn't have a drive. You know what a drive is? It's like you get first downs, right? We didn't have a drive in the entire game. This defense, it's either we suck or they're good. But how do you go an entire game and
A
you don't
combination
have,
of both.
but it's not like we had 4 turnovers and Tannehill threw a bunch of picks. We didn't have a drive. How do you go a whole game without a drive? This defense is something special. I mean, I know Tennessee's offensive line has got issues, and the guy from Northwestern's out. He had an appendectomy. Who knows? He's going to be out for a couple more weeks. They got all kinds of issues there, but they never had a drive. This defense, they harassed. I mean, what did Derrick Henry get? 7 yards. I mean, he couldn't get beyond the line of scrimmage. They put him they put 7 in the box, 8 in the box, and then they tried to pass the ball. Tannehill couldn't take 2 steps back. Browns are for real. That defense is for real. I love Cleveland here -1.5 at home with that crazy logo they got. That's the other thing. That's something about that logo. It's kind of scary. That's scary.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Cleveland -1.5.
So Derrick Henry is getting older. Against New Orleans, 15 attempts, 63 yards. Against the Chargers, 25 for 80 yards, but still averaging 4.2, 3.2 yards carry. Against Cleveland, 11 attempts for 20 yards. I mean, they are for real. I tuned into that game for about a second, and it was when the Titans were in the red zone, and I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Like, Titans are like they're like an elite red zone team. That's always been the case with them.
Yep.
They get in the red zone, they score, they have Derrick Henry, whatever. And I watched one play, Tannehill drops back, sacked for like 1,000 yards, and then they like run one more play, and they're like, forget it, kick a field goal. So I mean, I don't know, they're for real, but we'll see. Because you're right. I mean, defense can be nasty all year, and then they can play an offense that has them figured out. We'll see. But I like the Browns too, as well. So working through these afternoon games here. We got about 2 more left. There's a couple more afternoon games, but 2 more before we welcome in Darian Kelly here. Let's talk a little Rams Colts. I was all on the Rams last week. They did not cover the spread, so I'm just going to shut up this week. Rams +1 going to Indianapolis. Geez, I mean, Indianapolis, they're not very good either. We'll start with Dad, our AFC South guru. You like the Rams here, or you're going to have to pick the Colts? Oh, there
Colts
we go.
at home. Look, they had a great win. They had a great win last week in overtime, right? Everybody's got Minshew fever again. The team is better than advertised, and they went to Baltimore. They win a game in overtime. And they're playing really inspired football. The best thing that Indianapolis did is they fired the worst NFL coach in history, and that's Frank Roke White or Frank Woke, right? Whatever his name is. Guy with the, that comes out in a hazmat suit because he has a cold or something. Guy's terrible. He's at Carolina now. Best thing they did was get rid of him, revitalize the team. This team's for real. And as their young quarterback gets better, I mean, I think they got a shot here, maybe to actually compete for the division title, because in the AFC South, everybody's in. In fact, the best thing about being in the South is you can be the Titans and be 1-2, and you're tied for first place. I love the AFC South. I'm going with Indy -1.
Yeah, Frank Reich had cancer. I mean, that's kind of why he's a little careful. But let's go very quickly, Nate and James, because I also skipped Steelers Texans. We want to do that as well. We got a lot of games we're a little behind. So, James, what do you think? Rams Colts.
I'm going to go with Rams. Indy's 3-6 against the spread in their last 9, and 2-6 in their last 8. So I'm going to go short and sweet. I'm going to go with Rams here.
All right, Nate.
I like the Rams here too. I think that the Colts benefited last week in that win by having Gardner Minshew play, but it looks like Anthony Richardson's back, which means he will play, which means they'll probably lose again. So
you got no you had no respect
Rams.
for AR-15. Look, Anthony Richardson had 2 great games. Why do you show no respect for this guy?
Because he
hasn't
won and
taken a lot of
rookie.
snaps.
Got to take more snaps, I guess. But we'll see. Look, Dad, you're all in on the Colts. That pains you to say, so maybe we should listen. Let's turn our attention to the Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Houston. Big game
Woohoo!
for both teams here. Steelers are a little down and out. Texans on the rise. Dad, you're out there in Pittsburgh, so you got a little Steeler fever. But we're going to start with Nate because he is all in on the Texans this year. He was talking about it earlier in the year before they started.
He was right
D'Amico
last
Ryan's
week.
terrific coach. The Steelers are -3. What do you think, Nate?
Oh, I worry in this game. Nobody's been banging the drum harder for the Texans on this show than me. I love the Texans. I love what they're doing. I love the progression that CJ Stroud has shown early in the season. I love D'Amico Ryan's as a coach. Blah, 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 blah. My gut here is just to take the under. This feels like a low-scoring game. Stroud hasn't been very good under pressure, and that's what Pittsburgh has sort of built their defense around. Obviously, TJ Watt is a huge factor in that. I think they'll make his life difficult. I don't know if Pittsburgh can score enough to cover 3 points against the Houston Texans defense because they just look like a disaster offensively. I think under is probably the safest play. My heart says Texans. My brain says just take the under and just root for the Texans since I'm already so heavily overinvested in their futures.
Dad, you're out there in Pittsburgh. What do you think?
Pittsburgh -3. I love the Steelers here. Look, the Texans won their game. Look, Nate, I have to hand it to you. You picked them last week. I made fun of you. You were right. I was wrong. You won the bet. I didn't. So good job there. But I don't see this thing sustaining. And the Steelers have a real defense. So, and by the way, the Steelers beat the Browns. So I'm going to go with Pittsburgh -3. Kenny Pickett fever, baby. Steelers -3. I think this score is going to be like something like 24-7. Favor the Steelers here. So I love the steel curtain and that defense -3 in Texas.
James.
I'm going to go with Pittsburgh as well. They're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 versus Houston, 5-0 in their last 5 road games, and they're 5-0 against the spread against their last 5 AFC opponents.
All right. So we got one more game here to get to before we get to the bottom half of the hour. Bucks traveling to New Orleans. Tampa's been sort of surprising. New Orleans, I don't know. I mean, without Derek Carr, they're a whole different team. Now I don't think he's back. I think he's out for a while. I think Jameis is the guy in New Orleans for right now. Bucks are a 3-point dog here. We'll start here with James. What do you think?
Kind of unsure about this one, especially the spread. But what I did come across here is Buccaneers are 4-14-1 against the spread in their last 19, 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 versus the Saints, and they're 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 road games. So with that being said, I'm going to go with the Saints here.
Yeah. So Nate, I had to do a double take here because we got to, the spread kind of suggests maybe Carr is going to play. He's questionable, still with the shoulder injury. So I guess if he plays, I like the -3 for the Saints. If he doesn't play, I'm not sure I can put my faith in the backup there, Jameis.
Yeah, I mean, I think you gotta take the Bucks here. I mean, I'll just fade Jameis Winston all the time, and make money doing it. I mean, he's just terrible as a favorite against the spread. There are a bunch of different numbers you can look at. The one that pops off the page is he's 3-11-1 as a favorite of 3 or more points.
Perfect.
He just sucks as a favorite. He always has. I don't think that this is his moment. So I'll take Tampa +3 here. That's just
All right, Tampa
I think,
and Bacon.
look, anytime you can bet against Jameson, you got to. I love Tampa Bay here and 3. They're a better team that meets the eye. They're a lot more competitive. If Derek Carr was playing, I'd probably lean Saints here, but I'm gonna go with the Bucks +3. Hey, don't forget the Titans game. You said we were going to the afternoon game. That game's at 1:00. Skip over.
I think I have the Titans. Yeah, no, they're on the schedule for the next segment. There's more noon games than afternoon games this week. It's actually really stupid. There's like 9 games that start at 1 Eastern time, and there's only like 5 or 6 that are after that, which can be sort of frustrating when the NFL does that. So those are going to bleed into the bottom half of the hour. We got the Titans coming up, as well as the Commanders at Eagles. We're going to talk that with Darian Kelly here in a minute. Look, we want to thank our senior contributor James Tillman III, grinding away on some WNBA still, grinding away on the Bears coverage. You can look at all the Chicago coverage there for James at GodzillaWins.com. You find him on Twitter at TillJam3 as well. James, I want to thank you as always. Thanks for coming on, and good
Thank
luck
you,
this
guys.
week suffering
Thanks,
through
James.
another Bears loss. So
See you next week, guys.
we're
Another
going
Bears
to
fiasco.
yeah, for real. We're going to welcome in now Darian Kelly from the Jersey Sports Network. He was with us last week. We love talking to Darian, and he is
Hey, wait a
all
minute.
decked out in the Orioles gear.
Wait. Why does he get to wear that bird's hat, right? Isn't there a rule that we have on Godzilla Wins? You can't wear a bird's hat and a bird shirt, right?
I mean-
hey, we're going to face you guys, dude. We're going to face you guys for the AL championship. You guys are going down. So you can take that nice little hat. You take your nice little shirt. You can throw it in the wash because that's where it's going. We're gonna beat you guys in 6 games. In fact, I can't wait to play the Orioles. We're gonna beat you guys in 6.
Confidence losing from a guy who is two losses away from not making the playoffs. So
I just have one thing to say. That the playoffs run through Baltimore, Maryland this year. That's all I have to say. It running through Cannon Yards. We're putting a lot of pressure on teams in a lot of different ways. So, we'll see. That's all I got to say. We'll see. I don't have to argue that point. We'll see.
yeah,
Nice hat.
yeah, we will see. I don't know. I think the World Series runs through Atlanta. To be honest with you, I'm not a Braves fan, but man, they look pretty scary.
Who
Got a
cares
lot of
about
Braves
the National
fans.
League? But this is all about getting to the World Series. Who cares about the Braves? Let's get there and then see what happens, right?
Yeah,
Squeeze
and
Braves.
the Braves are excellent at blowing their opportunities. So they could lose in the first round. They love to do that. They've been doing it since the 90s. But all right, so we're welcoming in Darian here from the Jersey Sports Network and our social media manager here at GodzillaWins.com. Locked into NFL here. We'll talk a couple more noon games, then we'll move on to the afternoon games. Got to go pretty quickly. We're always running a little behind. A lot of NFL games to get to. Very difficult to do this in 1 hour. So we're talking Commanders at Eagles. Commanders are a 9.5-point dog here. They should be. The Eagles are an incredible team, and the Commanders suck. So, Darian, we'll start with you, guest of honor. What do you like in the Commanders-Eagles?
Yeah, I really like the Eagles here. I feel ashamed because I picked the Commanders last week and they went Danny Green mode. They were who we thought we were. They were who we thought they were.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm leaning heavily on the Eagles. They're going to put a lot of pressure on them from a defensive perspective. I just don't think that the Commanders are better than the Eagles in any position category. I'm taking the Eagles on this one.
Dad, what do you think?
Eagles minus
Yeah, you
9.5.
gotta like that.
Washington sucks. Done.
Yeah, there's some searing analysis. Nate, I know you can zag here. You hate these large spreads. I mean, what do you think?
It's a
Commanders got a
divisional
little-
game. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a divisional game, and Riverboat Ron's pretty good as an underdog. So there's absolutely like nothing on paper that makes me want to take Washington other than just principle and just sort of understanding of the NFC East and all of their intricacies and weirdness. The same reason I was pretty skeptical of the Cowboys last week when they lost to Arizona. I like the Commanders here, plus 9.5. I mean, there's no reason for that. Sam Howell
Square
was
bet,
fine for the
square
first
bet.
couple of games, and then he got sacked 100 times last week and threw 4 interceptions against the Bills. That could happen again, but just on principle, I'll take Washington plus the points.
Yeah,
Square bet.
I like that. Anytime you get up to that 9.5, 10, I mean, I'm always taking the dog. It's the NFL. You just never know what's going to happen unless it's the Dolphins. It's hard to blow a team out these days. So we'll see there. We don't have to spend a ton of time on the Commanders, but you're right. Riverboat Ron is pretty good as an underdog. So let's move to the Bengals Titans here. Two teams who are waffling in relevancy, I guess. I'm trying to find the spread here. Bengals minus 2.5 here for the spread. We'll start with Dad, Titans
Take
fan.
the points. Take the points.
Go ahead.
Look, 9-8 wins this division. I love the AFC South. Everybody's 1-2. They're all tied for first. 9-8 wins it. Look, newsflash, Cincinnati's not that good. Newsflash, we suck too. But the thing is, we're at home. We got Derrick Henry. We got Tannehill. We have a great defense. This is not the Cleveland Browns. We are going to have a drive today. It's not going to be like a week ago. Plus, the Titans always bounce back from these debacles. So I love Tennessee at home. Cincinnati's not that great. 9-8 wins the division. Next week, we're going to get screwed because Jacksonville gets to stay in London for 2 weeks. We don't. There should be an investigation on that. There should be a lawsuit. We need to sue the NFL over the fact that Jacksonville gets to stay there for 2 weeks. But this week, I love my Titans at home over the Bengals. They're finally going to beat them. Take the 2.5, and we will actually have a drive.
Yeah, look, sometimes when I play golf with people I barely know, I spend the first tee basically being like, look, I don't really play that much, and don't be surprised if this goes in the water. And I'm kind of stiff, and my clubs are old, and that's what you sound like talking about the Titans next week in Jacksonville. It's like you already know you guys are going to lose, so you're spending all this time on the radio complaining about how they get to stay in London and you don't. So just
it must be a conspiracy because they could never just lose.
It's a total conspiracy. It's the
Always
same
is.
Conspiracy on the Yankees getting all their cheating redacted because they had to protect the franchise. And so they threw the Astros under the bus because nobody cares about the small market team. It's the same thing going on with Tennessee. Everybody wants Jacksonville to win the division. Guess what? We're going to go there anyway and kick their ass. Screw Jacksonville.
Houston is the 4th largest city in America. They're not a small market team. I hate when you say that.
They are
Jacksonville is one of the small. Jacksonville is the smallest market.
Everybody like Yankees, Boston, LA. That's where all the money is. So they all protect the Yankees. Hey, guess what? Who's in the playoffs? Yankees? No. Eliminated. Mets? Eliminated. Padres? Eliminated.
None of this conspiracy makes sense.
All the big money teams, they're not even in the playoffs. And best thing that happened, Giants fired Gabe Kaplan.
Yeah. Look, Houston is a major market. That's like the most ridiculous thing. Like they're like a gigantic city. Okay, so Darian, we'll go to you. We'll kind of go around the horn with the Titans game, and we'll move on. We got to go pretty quickly.
Yeah. I really like I like the Titans here. If you look at Vrabel's record as an underdog, he's very similar to Tomlin. I actually saw somewhere where I think the Titans have won the most games as underdogs. So I'm leaning Titans here. The Bengals are, they're not the same on offense. Burrow is really hurt, and the franchise really rests on that calf. Not looking good, not looking the same. I'm going Titans.
Nate, we love Vrabel as a dog, but he hasn't been the same this year.
No, I like the Bengals here. I mean, Joe Burrow played. He won last week. He didn't look great. The offense doesn't look great, but Tennessee is just way too banged up. Their offensive line stinks. Defensive line's hurt. I think this is a good chance for Burrow to get a little bit right against a pretty soft defense. So I like Cincinnati.
Soft defense, shots fired there. Okay, let's.
That's bullshit.
Well, yeah, you can't say that on the radio, Dad.
It's an FCC complaint, yeah.
Yeah, like, come on, man. I mean, you're on the radio.
Soft defense. We have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. You know what?
Oh my God, I don't want to talk about the Titans anymore. Let's move on.
Well,
we have
started it.
What you're not on the debate stage. It's not like, oh, I get to respond because he mentioned my team. Like, I mean, we're moving on. So I mean, like I should honestly I should be a moderator for Fox Business because I could do a way better job of handling this nonsense than those guys can. We're moving on to the next game. We're not talking about the Titans anymore. So here we go. Raiders at Chargers. Here's the game everybody wants to bet. The Raiders are +5 because they stink. The Chargers also stink. We'll start with Darian, guest of honor here. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the Raiders, or excuse me, I like the Chargers here. I like the Chargers. I think that offensively, Justin Herbert, even though they've had some struggles, I think that their offense is more superior. I think he's going to throw it around the yard. I don't really believe in the Raiders, from a defensive perspective. I'm leaning Chargers here.
Chargers. What do you think, Nate? +5, weird spread.
I'm leaning Raiders just on principle. I mean, these teams pretty much just a coin flip. These teams are about split the last few seasons in terms of win-loss. So I'll just take the points and take the Raiders. There's nothing really more to it than that. I probably won't bet it, but the Raiders are, getting points, sure.
Dad, you hate both these teams.
Yeah. I'm going with the Raiders +5 because I can't stand it. How can you bet the Chargers, right? I mean, this team is they play no defense. You can't bet this team. I'm not going to lay 5 points with the Chargers. No way. You know what? I'm going with the Raiders. I'm taking a 5. Chargers are going to win this game by a field goal at the end, or the Raiders are going to. This is going to be a 3-point game, and I'm getting 5. I'm going to take Vegas all day.
Okay, so let's move on to the Patriots Cowboys because this is the game I think actually people want to watch. I don't know. Maybe the Patriots are good, maybe they aren't. Mac Jones, I mean, he hasn't looked incredible. Cowboys, of course, looked like a Super Bowl team, and then they lost to the Cardinals by like 2 touchdowns because that's what the Cowboys do. Dak Prescott is always going to give you that a couple times a year. Mike McCarthy just not exactly locked into the Arizona game. We'll start with our resident Cowboys skeptic and fan, Nate Perry. Patriots are +6 traveling to Dallas. I know you like the Pats here. I just know it.
Yeah, I mean I my bet was the under. Both these defenses look a lot better than the offenses. This is Bill Belichick against Mike McCarthy, so Mike McCarthy's going to struggle just because he's like not as good of a coach. In a low-scoring game, though, I think you got to take the Patriots +6. Yeah, Dallas just hasn't. Yeah, last week was a disaster. I think there are a lot of offensive question marks. I just don't know if they can pull away by multiple scores against a really, really good Pats defense.
Now, Nate, I know that sometimes on Sunday, you might go out a little bit, have a couple drinks before the Cowboys game. Last week, I think I didn't hear from you by the time the Cowboys started playing until maybe Tuesday. So I'm wondering if that Cowboys loss just kind of catapulted you into a 24-hour period of self-loathing.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Darian, look, the Cowboys are so annoying. What do you think? I mean, I don't even know how to set it up.
I'm agreeing with Nate on this. I'm going Patriots. I just think the Cowboys, right? Old linemen are banged up. I mean, you're losing 3 old linemen. Offense is in disarray. I just think that not disarray, but Dak needs the old line. He needs so many weapons to be successful. And with that old line being down and it being, like you said, a defensive game, I like the Patriots, and I think the Patriots going to put a lot of pressure on Dak, especially the Christian Gonzalez kid. I mean, they the Patriots have a history of just having great defensive backs. They have another one in this rookie, so I'm leaning Patriots.
Dad, you're not afraid of a large spread there. You might lay those points.
Nate, I love you like a son. You pick against your team week after week, and then you don't understand. You give them bad juju and they lose. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, man. Cowboys, look, they go to Arizona. They're overconfident. Everybody's picking them to go to the Super Bowl. They're reading their press clippings, and they get spanked, right? Now they're back home, and they're playing a team with – do you really think Mac Jones is going to beat the Cowboys in Dallas? I mean, give me a break, right? New England's not that good. Dallas going to bounce back here. This is my best bet actually of the week. Dallas going to bounce back. This is going to be a smoke job. And look, Dak he always has one of these stinker games, right? We all know that. Dallas bounces back here. Big win. I love the Cowboys minus it. If this game was 9, I'd lay 9. I love the Cowboys -6.
Dad, I think if Nate were to take advantage of some of Healthy Cell's products, he might feel a little bit better about his team. Tell our listeners how they can take advantage of some of those.
Does anything we need to get Nate a whole bunch of things. He's our project. He needs Beard Vet coffee. He needs Healthy Cell REM sleep. He needs Healthy Cell joint and paint. I mean, he definitely needs my pillow. He definitely needs some barbecue sauce. Wake him up. I got to take all of our sponsors, get all their stuff, get a big crate, and ship them to Reno for Nate because that's what he needs. But if you got aches and pains. Now, if you're a young buck like Jack and, you're young and you say, yeah, I feel fine, right? Or you're an Orioles fan and your team's in first place, you're feeling good, that's fine. But if you get a little long in the tooth like me, you get these aches and pains and you're driving the RV 10 hours, there's one answer. I used to take 2 leave a day. Now, you know how many I take? 0 for 2 months. Actually, now 3 months. Why? Healthy Cell, joint and mobility. Go to healthycell.com. Promo code Godzilla, joint and mobility, going to save 20%. It's natural. Now, unlike REM sleep, which is instant, it's going to take you about 2 weeks. But if you get those nagging pains, you got some arthritis. Jack knows my back has hurt forever. My arm, I couldn't pick this coffee up 3 months ago because of my arm pitching and abusing it, whatever, shooting cortisone in it, crazy stuff. Joint and mobility has changed my outlook because I'm pain free. Go to healthycell.com/Godzilla. Get joint and mobility. Takes about 2 weeks. Promo code Godzilla, 20% off. You can thank me later. And we're going to get Nate. We're going to give him a big box, throw all this stuff in and ship it to Reno. It's going to look better. And in there, I'm also going to put in a box of lights.
There we
I'm
go.
going to take care of you, Nate.
So we got about 3 minutes to run through 3 games each, and none of these games I'm particularly excited about, but I guess we'll do it anyway. Cardinals traveling to San Francisco, big upset last week, but they're a 14-point dog. We'll start with Darian here. Any interest in the Cardinals, or you just want to bet that the Niners are going to keep blowing everyone out?
Yeah, the Niners are going to keep blowing.
Oh, did we lose Darian?
Lost Darian for a second,
Yeah, we
he might pop back on. Nate, go ahead.
Well, all right. Here's where I'm at. I think that the Cardinals might be an okay team. Football Outsiders has them ranked 10th. They're above average in pretty much everything in terms of major categories. Divisional game, I'll just take the Cardinals plus the points. There's a part of me that just wants to play the plus 650 money line, just because I think, at some point, the empire of the 49ers will fall, just as the Romans did.
Week.
It could be this week.
Could be. That's a good strategy. I take that strategy a lot, but I don't like it this week. Dad, what do you think?
Cardinals are not going to beat them. They're not going to win two in a row. They had their win last week. Somebody's got to show me they can beat San Francisco. Until then, I'm on them. Niners minus 2 touchdowns.
It's a big spread. I'm never, on principle, I'm not taking 2 touchdowns ever. I mean, I'm always going to take the dog there. Darren, looks like you're back.
Yeah, I don't like anything in particular here. I'm leaning more toward the 49ers to handle business here. They're going up against Cardinals are going up against a real offense. It's on fire. I like the Niners here.
All right, so looks like most of us kind of like the Niners, but I don't know. I mean, I like the Cardinals, Nate. I'm with you. I think 14 points is way too much. So we shall see. Let's go to Sunday night. Chiefs travel into the Meadowlands, play the Jets. Taylor Swift will be in attendance. So that's a major distraction, I guess. I don't know. Seems like they're happy, her and Travis Kelce. So good for them. The Chiefs are a 9-point favorite. That's because the Jets stink. They don't have a quarterback. They can't win a game. They got a great defense. Let's start here with Dad. That's your second favorite team, the Jets. What do you think?
I can't do it anymore. I can't watch Zach Wilson. I can't do it. I'm sorry, Jets. I love you, Green, baby. I love you. You're my dad's team. He lived and died by those Jets every single week. Never missed a game. Loved Joe Namath. Loved Emerson Boozer. Loved Don. I can't do it, Jack. You got to be able to throw the football. You got to have a quarterback. You can't play games with no quarterback. This guy is so bad. There's got to be somebody you can get off the waiver wire. Somebody's got a practice squad quarterback somewhere. Grab him and get this guy, jettison him out of town, eat the draft pick. Chiefs -9. If you don't score, basically the Chiefs need a touchdown and a field goal. You cover. That's basically it. As good as the Jets defense is. And the other thing is, this is not fair to their defense. Go get that guy that the Titans got that's now playing for what? Arizona or something. They got him off the street. Go find somebody, some ex-college player. Anybody's got to be better than this guy. Chiefs.
Yeah. I mean, he's so bad. Darren, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm there. I agree a lot with John. No quarterback. You're not going to get far in this league. I just think that it's the Chiefs. The Chiefs are in a great spot right now, especially with the Taylor Swift combination. I'm rolling. I'm riding the Chiefs. The Chiefs Swiftie train. I'm riding it all the way.
That's right. The Chiefs T Swift combo.
Yeah,
9 points, man. It's too much for me.
I already have an irresponsible amount bet on the under in this game. That's generally sort of how I lean anyways in these primetime games. In the last 15 Jets games, 14 have gone under 41. Totals at 41.5. So that's enough for me. It's like an irresponsible amount of my betting account on there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just
Hey,
bet
that's
the
a
under
good bet,
game.
Dave. You know what? I've only bet one under over in my life.
Don't jinx it, John.
I think I'm going to go with that because the Jets aren't going to score. So that means Kansas City would have to score 42 points against that defense. That's not going to happen. I think the under's a good bet. I might do the under.
I think, because the Chiefs are the Chiefs and they can score, you get a little bit of a pumped up point total. Usually you'd see this at like 36, 35. I mean, Jets unders can get pretty dark, especially as the season goes on. You'll see them real low. Then it can be hard to take it. But because the Chiefs can score and do score often and have a great offense, you really have to. I mean, you get some points is what I'm saying. So Nate, I think you're on there. I think that's a good bet here. 41.5. Nice little stat there. So nobody has any faith in the Jets. We're all going with the T-Swift Chiefs, and we'll see what happens. Sunday night should be fun. Okay, let's go to Monday. We've only got one game on Monday. Thank God we don't have to watch 2 games on Monday. This is the Seahawks traveling to the Meadowlands, play the Giants. So going cross country there. Geno Smith taking on the Giants. -2 for the Seahawks. 2 teams that are they've been all right this year. Mercurial at best. Nate, we'll start with you. You're a big Seahawks fan last year, maybe not so much this year. What do you think?
I'm a Seahawks fan here. I just, if there are teams that I don't like, that the Giants are one of them. I am never going to be a Giants fan. They have bothered me for most of my adult life and childhood. Yeah, I just think they're the better team. The Monday night game sort of mitigates some of the travel stuff that you'd sort of worry about with the West Coast team going back east. But yeah, I'll take Seattle here. What New York just doesn't look good. They look like they have a lot of problems. Daniel Jones has historically been pretty resilient. He generally bounces back after bad games, but this just doesn't feel like that spot. So I'll take Seattle.
Darian, you want to lay the 2?
I like Seattle on this. Like I really agree with Nate. I mean, the Giants, even though, I think they're having a lot of injury problems. Saquon's ankle is up in the air. They do get back Andrew Thomas, so they do get some help on the offensive line. But I think that without Saquon, it's really hard for me to really put a lot of faith in the Giants, because I feel like him and Daniel Jones together make the magic happen. But when it's just Daniel Jones out there, I don't feel comfortable.
No magic.
No magic. So I'm going with the Seahawks.
No magic when it's just Daniel Jones. It's just bad football, I think, for the most part. Easy to kind of just put a spy on him when you don't have to worry about Saquon. All right, Dad, round us out here. What do you think?
I'm going with the Giants at home. I think they're going to win this game. Seattle's got to fly across the country. These games on Monday night, home teams are very, very tough. That stadium's going to be packed. Giants need this win to stay relevant in the playoff picture. I mean, they need this win. They have to win this game at home. I think they're going to pull something out of the hat, and I like the Giants. I think a 2-point underdog, the Giants being a 2-point underdog, is kind of slap in the face being 2-point underdog at home to Seattle. I mean, give me a break here. So I'm gonna go with the Giants +2. But I agree with you guys. There's 2 games on Monday night thing. I really can't stand that. I don't know who came up with that idea. Probably the same people that put Jacksonville in London for 2 weeks to screw the
Just can't
Titans.
leave it alone.
No, it's pissing me off.
Can't leave it alone. Dad, we got about 30 seconds here. If you're looking for barbecue, you're looking for barbecue sauce this time of year, a lot of good barbecue sauce at Red State. Where can they go?
Well, you got to go to redstatebbq.com. Let's get saucy, right? You're going to be grilling. They got so many great flavors. Grill and barbecue sauce. Weekends of football, tailgate, and barbecue sauce. It's the perfect combo. It goes together. All you have to check them out. Go to redstatebbq.com. BBQ stands for barbecue. redstatebbq.com. Put in promo code Godzilla10. You're going to get 10% off. You're going to love this barbecue, baby. It goes with football. And our saucy game of the week in the NFL, of course, is the Titans Bengals. They're always the saucy game of the week for me. And I'll have the Titans +2.5. Bet the Titans. Get your saucy BBQ. You're good to go. redstatebbq.com. Godzilla10, 10% off. Do it now. And we thank them for being a sponsor of us. Without them, we wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be having all this fun.
That's right. And that's what we're all about. Promo code FUN there. So we want to thank Dan Angel for joining us for the college football and James Tillman III for talking NFL, as well as Darian Kelly. You can find Darian at DK Sports 410. That's DK at DK Sports 410 on Twitter. Also the Jersey Sports Network as well. Go ahead and give them a follow. They put out some great content. We want to thank all of our listeners for another terrific show. We had a lot of fun. Football season, so much fun. We got baseball playoffs picking up as well. So we will see everybody next week for the same time slot, 8 to 10 Eastern time. Talk some more college, more NFL, all football season long. Go to GodzillaWins.com for all of your coverage. Next is the War Room.